In the 5th episode of the Phantom build there is going to be a lot of painting, masking and unmasking, so let's dive into it. This video comes to you in cooperation with DN Models, DACO Products, Elegoo and PCBWay. To kick off the pre-painting effects application, I airbrushed white highlights over the panel lines and some of the more prominent rivets and fasteners. With this, I hope that there will be more contrast so that the wash I was going to apply later on would be more prominent. Most of the tools and materials I used in this build you can find underneath this video in the description. On a side note, instead of masking with tape I used the closed canopy detail to protect the interior details from overspray. Next up, using a sheet of paper as a mask, I created more white highlights, which started from the panel line with full opacity and then faded away towards the back of the airplane. Using Tamiya's XF20 medium grey and also some white, I first did some speckling with a brush and a toothpick. The paint was diluted so that the splatter could dry flat on the surface. Since that was taking way too long to apply, I continued applying the paint on the surface using a sponge. This approach can be seen as an alternative to the marbling. Now it looks terrible, but I know it will be looking better. I did a trial with Go Grey and a few things came out of it. Some of the stippling really needs to be leveled down. I was not able to see it at first, but as soon as some paint went on the surface it was obvious. Not a big deal, I sanded everything smooth. Next thing, white blobs really don't work with Go Grey base coat. They are just too hard to cover, and by the time they get covered everything else is basically obliterated. So I got some black primer and airbrushed it over the more obvious white splotches to tone them down. After the sponge marbling was done, I did some initial blending with different colors. On a few panels I used a blend of ocean grey and white, and other panels darker and RLM66 mix. The idea is to get a paneling appearance after the final blending with these base colors. Is it going to work? I don't know, to be fair. We'll see. The brown-grey mix I applied only under the engines and on the wing root, as I assumed those are the grimier areas. For the belly I used insignia white. I applied the paint panel by panel so it does not come out as a uniform layer. Well, I would say that the result of the base color application is rather underwhelming. Almost none of the previously applied effect is really visible apart from the bright white fading effect, which is why I can blame it, or rather my miscalculation of how much contrast I needed. Since the gear bays are in the same insignia white color, I painted those together with the belly. Anyhow, the insignia white belly is mostly done. Next up are the upper surfaces. Before we go any further, let me tell you about the sponsor of today's video. PCBWay offers professional on-demand 3D printing service. They can print your projects in plastic, resin or even metal. They also offer sheet metal and carbon fiber fabrication, CNC machining in a huge array of materials, injection molding and many electronic component solutions. Check them out, link I will leave in the description. Before I could carry on with the light gold grey, I needed to mask off the white flaps. The masks for the more complex inner side I did myself by tracing the panel line on a piece of masking tape. Then, using a scalpel knife, I made a cut on the contour and then placed the mask on the flap. I finished off the masking with straight sections of tape. The light gold grey application was much like the insignia white on the belly. Panel by panel, in a cloud-like pattern, I was building the opacity. My goal was not to get the full opacity with the first layer, but rather to build up the layers, and while the opacity was gaining strength, I was able to decide when to stop. Now, if I were to make a striking model with a lot of contrast and effects, I should have probably stopped 1 or 2 layers short of where I actually did stop. And probably that would have been better for the video, but in person it felt unfinished, so I painted the model in a way that it will look good in person. Maybe that's why my videos are not performing as well as other channels. The same paint I applied on the outside of the canopy frames. Here I just applied the paint without any effects, because there are going to be decals covering a large portion of the surface. So why waste the time? After I was done airbrushing, I did get the chance to enjoy some masking tape removal, except for the random tape residue leftovers that I have to clean up somehow. Based on my experience, I cannot recommend border models masking tape, which is why I am going to stay with the good old Tamiya tape. To do some test fitting, I placed the air brakes on the underside, and that's when I realized that the opacity of the white on the belly is way too low. So this is a chance to give it another try at making some underlaying weathering. Using a sponge and heavily diluted light grey acrylic paint, I applied the set weathering. I did another blending layer with the insignia white, and I think now the overall appearance is much more acceptable. With the camouflage painting done, I was ready to start applying the markings. As you probably know, throughout this build I am using a mask set from DN Models. I will admit that masking and painting the markings is a tedious and time-consuming process in comparison with applying decals, but at the end of the day, the results are so rewarding that the effort is absolutely worth putting in. For the letters and the anti-glare panel in front of the windshield, I used Tamiya's Rubber Black as a base color. I find this color to be very suitable for anything that is black. When I was done with the base, I added some gold grey to the rubber black and did some highlights, leaving the panel lines darker. The effect is more evident on the anti-glare panel, presumably due to its surface. The navy letters were treated the same way. The smaller ones I left alone as I did not see any point in post-shading them. Next up, it was time to do the insignias. Here the major obstacle were the folded wings, because there are no masks available for that configuration. To overcome that issue, I used the kit decals as a guide and sliced the masks as they were attached on the backing paper. Next, I temporarily positioned the outer wings in place and fixed them with some masking tape. The easiest way to properly apply the masks in my mind was to apply all of the masks and then remove what was not necessary. So that's exactly what I did. Using the Tamiya instructions, I figured out the position of the stars as accurately as possible, and from there on it was only a matter of adding the outer layers. It may look strange, but I applied the insignia white on the bottom insignia despite the fact that the belly is in the same color. The difference will come from the increased saturation and it's going to look alright. With the insignia white done, I added more masks, some to paint the red color of the insignia, others to paint the black outline of the board number, and various other markings on the airplane. Notice how even the smallest details are going to be painted. Great job from DN Models providing masks for such tiny items. The paint I used for the red was insignia red from MRP. Here, since the surfaces were too small, I did not bother with any kind of post shading. Here I want to say thank you to all my supporters over at Patreon and on the YouTube membership program. You guys are amazing. I have to say that the board numbers look absolutely amazing. The final part of the insignia painting was to apply the insignia blue from MRP. Here I did apply the paint more deliberately, in a cloudy or mottling fashion. Also I made a few more passes with the blue over the panel lines to increase the saturation and make them appear a little bit darker. With that, I hope the insignias will look more lively and interesting. I have to admit, the mask removal is one of my favorite things to do, especially when they reveal such a nice sight. The shark mouth painting was probably the most complex task of all the masking so far. I trimmed the masks because they had hard time conforming to the nose. Then I applied the outline mask and a slim line inside of it, which will be black, and I will paint it last. Next I applied a coat of insignia white and left it to cure for a few hours. Then I came back with the teeth, which are not supposed to be touching the black boundary mask, but to have some red spacing. After a coat of insignia red, I removed the teeth masks, and this I left to cure for a while. To be fair, in my eyes this looks more like wolf's mouth, maybe due to the nose section profile. Anyhow, after the thin black outline was painted with the rubber black from Tamiya, I got to do the demasking once again. And I was pretty happy with the result. As you can see, there are things to fix, but I think that was expected. The final paint-on markings were the eyes. Here again first I applied the outline mask and painted inside of it with insignia white. Then I added a small outline and then right next to it the inner mask. After that I removed the outline and painted everything with insignia red. Next I placed the outline mask back and removed the central mask, so I could spray the rubber black. After all that masking and unmasking, the eyes came out absolutely stunning. There were a few more bits and bobs that I had to mask and paint, but in general this chapter of our adventure is done. As I have said multiple times already, I really like the outcome, and most of it is thanks to DN Models who supported this build with the mask set. So thank you DN Models. On that note, I think it is about time to conclude this episode. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, happy modeling fellas!